What if I told you there was a secret world? A world where dark creatures stalk the city streets, where secret societies pull the strings of presidents, the media, and powerful CEOs. A world where myths, legends, even nightmares are all true. Now, what if I told you that world is ours?
We recently popped along to EA to take a look at The Secret World, an upcoming MMORPG from FunCom. We also had the chance to chat to Tor Andersen, Junior Communications Manager at FunCom, who is here to share the secrets of The Secret World.
The Secret World is a modern day MMO, and it's set in the real world, set in the modern world, but there's a twist to it. In The Secret World, every story, myth, legend, conspiracy, all that stuff is really true. So the earth is really hollow. You'll be fighting like vampires are real, mummies are real, werewolves are real, all that stuff is really true. Like Stonehenge, Eldorado, they have great magical power. But the players, they will be selecting one of three secret societies, which are the Dragon, the Illuminati, and the Templars. And so these secret societies, they fight against each other for control over the world. But they also fight together against the rising darkness, because there's something really wrong with the world, something dark is happening, and it's threatening all mankind. So they join up to fight that.
The Secret World is different to other MMORPGs in that it has no levelling up or character classes. So we asked Thor how we can all expect to develop our characters in the game.
In the Secret World, we want to give our players a lot of freedom. So there are no classes and no levels. Instead, we have a huge ability wheel with over 500 unique abilities. And the players, they learn them. There is progression like in a normal MMO, but they choose which abilities to learn. So they fight. They can't fight with all 500 abilities, but they choose 2 weapons and out of many, and they choose 7 active and 7 passive abilities. So when they learn this, they put it together in a build that works well together. But the thing is, in the Secret World, you're not defined to one role. You can be playing as a defensively, tanking, healing, damage, all sorts of different damage, and you can do this all on the same character because you can swap between builds whenever you want. So the more abilities you learn, the more roles you can fill, the more stuff you can do.
Doing more stuff is always great, but how many of these character builds can we have available for selection?
You can have tons of them, and you really want to have a lot, because like one encounter can be really hard if you're good at close combat, but perhaps it's easier if you use ranged weapons. So you can then swap between these builds depending on the challenges you face. So in the beginning, it's going to be, the abilities are quite cheap, so you can learn a lot of them and figure out what you really like. But as you get into the game, they get more and more expensive, and then you really have to focus to get some really strong abilities, and also then the challenges get much harder. So in our deep dungeons, the bosses and stuff are really, really hard. So there you need strong builds that are good against them, and you need to be swapping between them and figuring out what works. Not only what works for you, but what works for the group as a whole. So that players, they can show each other their builds. There's a functionality so you can show your build to another player, he can see it himself, and then he can learn, oh, so that's why you're so good in this dungeon, because you have these abilities. Perhaps I should learn them as well.
Does this mean we can change our skills whenever we want to?
You can switch anytime you want, except in combat. You switch outside of combat, but combat is just one fight, so you can swap from 1 minute to the next.
Once you lift the veil, you will see with your own eyes that the world's greatest myths and legends are all true. Few are prepared to hear that the terrors that plague the world's nightmares are real. But they are. The dark days are coming.
So, we know some of the Secret World secrets, we have heard about character development. What about loot? And does the secret world have a need or greed style system in place?
You will be loot. There will be loot like most MMOs, and you will be getting loot. Yeah, you can define that yourself. But the thing is, equipment and loot and stuff like that is very important in the secret world, because you're not only making a build which has abilities that fit together, you also need the gear, the equipment which goes with it. So then, therefore, you really need to craft the gear you want. And so all the weapons and equipment you find in the secret world, you can break it down and get components from it, and then you can put those together and make the stuff you really need.
As Thor just mentioned, the secret world includes a full crafting system. We asked him to tell us more about how this works and about some of the items we can expect to create.
You can make all the stuff that you're gonna need to fight with. Weapons. In the secret world, we don't really have armor, because the clothes you wear in the game, they're cosmetic. So they are there to let you make the character look the way you want it to look. So you can be tanking a huge big boss and walking around in something really skimpy if you want to do that. You know, you don't need this big clunky armor. But what you make is what we call talismans, and they give you boosts to abilities and stuff like that, more hit points, more defense, all that stuff. And you not only craft the item, but you also craft the prefix and the suffix. You add them to the item. So there's tons of customization here. Yeah.
With a secret war being waged all around the world, how do we travel to other countries and continents? Do we just jump into cars, boats, trains and planes?
There will be no vehicles, but there are definitely ways to fast travel, yes. In the secret world, the Earth is hollow. So if you know where the access points are, you can travel through the Earth. That way you can travel from place to place really quickly. But you can also teleport your character into the Hollow Earth, which is called Agartha. You can do that anytime you want. So you'll be able to move around pretty quickly. Go back to your city headquarters in London or New York, and then go out doing adventuring again with missions and stuff like that.
No MMORPG would be complete without dungeons to explore. So how do these work in the secret world?
There is a dungeon in each playfield in the game, and all the dungeons are instanced, and they're made for a team. And these dungeons are very varied, and they are packed full of extreme challenges, fun challenges. You have to watch out for the bosses. They have all these special attacks, and it's very few trash mobs. It's boss fight to boss fight, a really cool action to action, and every single boss fight has a unique mechanic. So they introduce cool mechanics during the dungeon, and they accumulate, and often until at the last fight you see all the mechanics at play at once. So perhaps you have to run around not to get hit by comets, or you have to stand in cover from the wind, because the wind is gonna make you weaker, and all this stuff is playing together all the time. So the dungeons are really great, and they are full of dynamic and cool fights.
While we went hands-on with the game, it was mentioned that it will feature large-scale PvP battles. We asked Thor to tell us more about how these battles will work.
In PvP, the secret societies fight against each other, and they fight for control in war zones and battlefields, and battlegrounds, and they fight to control places of power. So, and here they can fight all the time, and when they control these places, they give a buff to their whole secret society. So even if you don't want to do PvP, you can get a buff if your secret society is really doing well.
Lastly, we asked Thor if the secret world will be subscription based, and to tell you all how you can take part in the beta going on right now.
the game will have a regular subscription-based model. There will also be an in-game store, but that is for cosmetic items only. So there will be no pay to win at all. But you can spend real money in the store for cosmetic and like beautiful items. But the game is regular monthly subscription-based. We're handing out beta keys all the time. Like last week at PAX, we handed out 10,000 beta keys. So if you can also get access to the beta by playing the Secret War. The Secret War is our we launched today Facebook game where you can play Secret Society against Secret Society for world domination. And if you play it, you can gain access to the beta.
If you want to know more about the Secret World, then you can read Lou's full hands-on preview at dailyjoypad.co.uk now. You can also get your hands on the Secret World on June 19th. Thanks to Tor Andersen for his time, and thank you all for watching.
There is a secret world. Everything is true. Everything